We could soon know if Congresswoman Gabby Giffords will be able to speak. Although she is making progress in her recovery from a gunshot through the brain, there are a lot of unanswered questions about long-term prognosis. Could she be permanently disabled? What are the chances of a 100% recovery? Joining us this morning is Dr. Scibelli. He is a neurosurgeon with Memorial Hospital. Good morning to you, Dr. Scibelli.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So what exactly do we know about the extent of her injury to her brain? What side of the brain was she hit?
Well, it's my understanding that she's been shot on the left side of her head, and that well, I haven't seen graphics of the direct entry and exit site. It's being reported that it's come across the left temporal lobe and exiting through the left frontal region. So it's transversing, presumably, at least part of the temporal lobe and part of the frontal lobe.
The left side of our brains, what does that control?
Well, in the vast majority of people, in the 90% or more of right-handed people, it controls language. And in 85% of left-handed people, it controls language. That's the most significant part of it. So it allows us to understand and communicate with the world around us.
As a neurosurgeon and somebody who has, in fact, operated on people with gunshot wounds to the head, is her progress remarkable in terms that 1 week out, 9 days later, she is now off the ventilator, reportedly opening her eyes?
Well, she's certainly done very well, and thus far she's hit all the landmarks we would hope for. Getting off the ventilator was obviously a good prognostic indicator, but most significantly was the fact that she was following commands. So she's at least interpreting the words that are presented to her, and she's able to then demonstrate some higher cognitive function by following those commands.
Okay, so she's able to understand those commands, but we don't yet know whether she will be able to verbalize any of her own.
So although she can understand it, we don't know if she'll be able to speak herself yet. By the reports of where this projectile transversed, it could be that she could understand completely but have difficulty forming the words herself. All
right, we've got a graphic to kind of indicate, even though the exact nature of this bullet wound wasn't released, this is kind of what neurosurgeons, outsiders are thinking happened here. And I have read that if it had gone from left to right or right to left, that would have been potentially life-ending.
Anytime it crosses multiple lobes, or particularly crosses the geometric center of the brain, the chance of survival goes down dramatically. I mean, most people who are shot, 2/3 of them never even make it to the hospital if you're shot in the head. And if you transverse one side or the other, or the center of the brain, the likelihood of survival dramatically diminishes.
Now, even though she's come so far, is there a possibility that something detrimental could continue to happen within her brain, possibly
Certainly.
ending her life?
The reports are that they performed what's called a craniectomy. So, while they went in and took out part of the projectile and probably fragments of bone from the skull, they then also removed a larger portion of her skull to allow for swelling of the brain. And she could still have some late swelling even this far out.
All right, Dr. Scibelli is a neurosurgeon with Memorial Hospital. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
To talk about Congresswoman Gabby Giffords' prognosis. And stay with Channel 4 and news4jax.com for continuing coverage.